So this is our whole color palette we're going to use and the supplies we're going to use to make this wreath. So grab your fishtail ferns and we will do those first. Now you also need a little Spanish moss to cover up the mechanics, and we'll have our glue pot right here close by. With the fishtail fern, what I like to do is just go ahead and push these up a little so you get about 5 inches down here, and then just cut that down to 2. Just like in design school, I walk you through step by step. I'm going to show you today so you can easily prep your greenery for your wreath base. And I'm just pushing that up, and we'll trim it 2 inches on this. You guys, 26 years experience creating wreaths and selling them helps me show you how to make things quickly and efficiently, whether you want to make them for your home or you want to come join us in business coaching and learn how to become a seller as well. Either way, I'm going to show you step by step how to create. Greenery is going to, what we call set the perimeter. So I'm going to start to put where I want my tallest piece to be, and then I'm going to work back from there. And when we're going in the grapevine, I've got a lot of glue on there. Anytime you can see the glue, you're going to come in and add some Spanish moss to it. Okay, I'm just going to get a little moss ball, and that helps secure it in there really nicely and holds the glue in place. I'm going to keep working back towards the center. And then we're going to talk about the direction change. So when you get to a certain point on your wreath, you're going to have a direction change in which things are going to come down. We call that the transition point. So you've got to think about that on your piece when you get ready to shift. All right. So we're still going up right now, but I think my transition is going to work right around here. And if that's the case, what I'm going to do is keep working down, and then I'll switch direction. Okay. So just give that a little rotation. And now we're going to do the same thing. Repeat the process that we have up above the transition right here below. Okay, so this is repeating that. You get the drift, but this is the kind of things I teach you in design school step by step with each project and each season. And then you have an access to a database when you first join of 24 videos. And after you've been here 6 months, then we give you access to the whole portal, which is over 250 videos now of step-by-step instruction, and they all have clickable supply lists where you can add those things right to your cart and immediately get the supplies you need to make what we're making. Okay, you see I'm working on the bottom half of the transition, so just coming in down here. We're going to rotate that. That's right where our transition point is, or our bow zone. So you can see these are all identical placement. Those two, those two, those two. So now I need to do this one, which is right here. So when you set that perimeter of the greenery, it really, really helps you be able to know exactly where everything's going to go, and you've got a nice symmetry going. Even though we're just working on one side of a wreath, there's symmetry involved because these match these, if that makes sense. Okay. So now let's go on and grab our next supply we need to put in, which is our big floral bush. This big honker floral bush has to go in next. And I am going to keep this greenery. It's a little bit more olivey, but I think it looks pretty in contrast. So push it up by the leaves. Just push each one of those up. And then we're going to trim these off to about 5-inch stems so we can give them a little bit of motion. So just start to trim them all off, the whole bush. Now you need to collect them and kind of collate them into colors, because we need to know exactly how many we have of each color. So here's the coral burgundy ones. Here's the cream ones. These are fillers right here. These are just greeneries. A little cream hydrangea. There's a couple of those in there. There's another filler. So you know that you want to be able to make 2 clusters for the top and 1 cluster for the bottom. So if I do that, I can just go like this. I can separate them right out. And we know we can do 2 clusters for the top and 1 for the bottom. And then one can have the cream bud and 1 can have the white bud. And these are a little bit more floral, so we'll have 1 at the top right here, 1 at the bottom here, and then we'll save this one for the additional top one, and we'll mix it with a hydrangea. So you're going to make your own little clusters. Now you don't have to take and use a pick machine or anything like that. I don't teach you to use that. I like to keep it super simple and eliminate steps in the process. So we're going to make our cluster on the wreath. Okay, so here we go. We're going to bring our big peony in first and just bend that head up. Right beside it, I'm going to go more to the inside with the coral. Right here, beautiful. And then our bud can, or this one's going to have, the hydrangea. The hydrangea can go a little bit behind. So you're making your own little cluster right here when you put it on, okay? Look how beautiful. And oh, so elegant and pretty already. Now get in there with your moss. We got to cover any of that glue that we've just used. If you've got an opening in your wreath where the gap is a little loose, when you put it in, you might use a little more moss to hold it in place. Okay, our first cluster's in. Now we're ready for cluster number 2, right around here. And we've got them laid out over here to the side. So we're going to put it in also. And I'm going to take and give that stem a little bend. And we're going to go right in here. Okay, beautiful. Number 1's going in. And let's put number 2 right beside it. And I'm going into the glue right next to me. Beautiful. And then we're going to put number 3 right here. And this one has the bud. Isn't that pretty? And then those are nicely clustered together. That's important that they're staying clustered for the whole design that we're creating. Okay, now let's come down here to the bottom. Below the transition, we've got our last cluster here. And I'm going to place it in also. And it's going to go a little bit. We're leaving a little space in here in case you want to put a bow. If you don't want to put a bow, you could just place the flowers tighter to the center. Every time I do a tutorial in design school, I give a stopping point because sometimes you might want to stop because of your budget. If you're a seller, what is my end price I want to have this at? If I put more, it's going to elevate it to a new price range, that type of thing. Or you're just your budget for your client, or your particularly personal budget. So I've got 2 above the bow zone and 1 below. You can see the symmetry still kind of continues, and I've got a line working down the middle, and that's exactly what I want. So now it's time to grab our next greenery. This is going to be our filler. It's going to fill in between all of those. We're going to cut this right down into sections, and we're going to use this in between. This one, you can trim it down shorter if you want, or you can go leave it long like I'm going to use, okay? You do got to give those some motion. You got to make them moving up. Depth and dimension mean higher prices for your finished project and a higher demand for your work because it's good quality. And so we utilize the wires. Anything you get from Cottage.com will be a higher quality. We try to have it just a little bit higher quality so it stands out and you're able to command a higher price. The neatest thing is they're much easier to work with when they have all these great wires. It's a couple of shorter ones. Let's use this shorter one in the back here. Okay, we got a lot of the greenery put up here to the front, and then we're going to put our next one. Oh, pretty. Make sure you're hitting that glue with the moss. Now let's look on the bottom part now. Move it up a little. And let's take our longest piece and kind of come in between these 2 right here. Push that into the grapevine, give it a little motion up. I love that. And then we'll go on the other two sides of this cluster. So we're leaving a little spot for the bow, but you don't have to if you don't want to. If you want to do no bow, remember, you're just going to shrink it all together. All right, she's looking good, y'all. Look at her beautiful flow. Now it's time to come in with our boho rose. That's going to add a bunch of color and really get a little bit more of that mauve color going. So this one cuts easily into 3 pieces. I'm going to do that right now. And depending on the length you want to use this in your piece, I can separate it again. So if we want more distribution, we can take and separate these into 2s also to kind of get a little bit more going around. If you really like this piece, you can always modify the recipe and you want more of this, just add 2 bushes to your supply list. So when you're going to look at a supply list at Cottage.com, you can modify, obviously you can be like, hey, I want more of the boho rose in there. Every supply list, guys, has links. And the cool thing is, then you can come in and watch the full video if you really want to make it. You can order the supplies from the quick video, but we've done all the hard work for you. We've done all of that. And when you're in design school, your supply lists are password protected, so you get first dibs to the new supplies and the new materials, and kind of makes it exclusive to you. And that helps really set you apart. I'm gonna put this one here. So we're just adding in touches of that boho rose and the burgundy. And I've got one more piece we're gonna put in right here. This is a little bit longer one. Okay, let's just tuck that one in. There's a big grapevine here. Got a lot of stuff there, but I think I can get it. Yes. And once again, utilize that beautiful wire in there. So look, it's so pretty. I love these. And these can go all year long. Okay, you can see our shape is coming together great. We've got a good flow going. We've left our bow zone open. So let's go ahead and tie the bow, and then we'll get it put in. Make it super easy. The 3-loop blows add a lot of movement to your piece, and so that's what we're going to do today. So I'm going to start off just by dovetailing this first cut, and you make that little V cut in the end. And I'm going to do about 24 inch tail just to get a lot of momentum. And then you can just take and twist your ribbon right here. Just hold it tight and twist. You get a nice strong twist, okay? And then hold that with 2 fingers. Now what we're going to do is I'm going to pull this out, and we're going to go ahead and make a couple of loops. And you want them to be kind of floppy and loopy. And I'm going to take and just pleat that up a little. This is 6 to 7 inches is good. That's kind of the sweet spot. Crease it, and then you know, kind of gather it, then twist it. Now I'm going to do another one. Now this is a beautiful bow itself right here. With the floppy type bow was trending. This is still wired, but you could keep a really natural bow if you wanted to stop here and just do 2 loops, 2 matching tails. Beautiful, okay? What we're going to do is we're going to twist, and we're going to go for another loop. So just extend that ribbon out a little bit more, and we're going to go for a 3rd loop. So the reason we put the twists in is it helps the bow from coming apart. So you're going to have 2 on one side and 1 on the other with both tails coming out that side. Okay, so we started with a tail, then a loop, then the other 2 loops. Now let's cut this one just a little bit shorter. So I'm going to come in here and cut it. And we're ready to go ahead and tie this bow off. So come on in with your cable tie, and you can use a wire too. If you're going to do wire, 18 gauge is perfect for bows. 22 goes in the back. We're going to use cable tie so we can get it nice and tight, and then just kind of fluff it up before you're done tightening it. See, I can kind of manage my twist, and see my tails coming down kind of asymmetrical. I love that. Now come in the back and add your cable tie back here. Just going to slide that under, and you're just going to get that really tight. Really tight. And that's why I like cable ties with like this jute ribbon, because they can get tighter than a wire. Okay, now take and let's fluff it out. Let's have these 2 kind of trail down together really pretty. And because this is wired, look how I can fluff it all up. All right, and then we'll be putting this in our wreath. The only thing you want to do is, if you don't have a flower to cover that center, the easiest piece of ribbon I put in there is I just cut my own. Just take and cut. Don't go too short, even though you don't need a lot. It's hard to manipulate it. So go about 10-12 inches, cut you a little strip. And I just fold it to the width I want it. And that also cleans up any rough edges, just like that, okay? Spray on that ribbon. Look how pretty, right in the center. Now come in and pop a couple of knots in. And there it is. Now it's time to put our bow on. And we left that little area open for the bow. So we'll just move this to the side, and we're gonna clip it right in with the cable tie. And I like the longer tail to go to the outside and the shorter tail to go to the inside. You can certainly play with that and do in a different way if you want to, but we're gonna just run this cable tie through here and get it nice and tight. And then you just want to clip off that little bit of an end, and when you clip it off, you can get it just a little bit tighter usually. All right, great. Now I'm going to shape up the tail. I want this one to kind of run underneath. Isn't that pretty? And this one will run kind of this way. Now we're not quite done. We need to fill in a little of this area around the bow with our extra greenery and our little bit of floral pieces we have left. So what I'm going to do with this white hydrangeas like the one we have up there is I'm going to use it right here at the bottom of the bow. So let's just take and give it a little bend, and we'll have it come out the bottom. And got a little glue on there, just push that right into here. And that little piece can just tuck in nicely into there and fill in kind of under the ribbon as it's kind of curling out. Oh, you know what? We never dovetailed the other tail, so we can do that now. And you can take and use the wires to do all kind of fun movements with this ribbon, scrunch it up. It's really fun. Now I'm going to take some pieces of this greenery that we have left and take and shorten it up to little short clusters. So you just grab it, pull it a little bit short, and we're going to use the little short clusters in by the bow. So we're going to pop one up here. Love that one. Close. There we go. Kind of over to the side. How about one right in here too? So you're going to work your way around your wreath while you're doing this to kind of fill in those zones that need it and give them a little bend forward. Let's put one right here, and that kind of, in design school we call that breaking the plane. It breaks the plane of the other floral and gives that, once again, we're working on dimension when we're doing that. So that's why you don't want these shooting off just so far, but we want them tight into the to the base now. We're gonna come right here and layer that one on top. Y'all, if you love this kind of design, you want to learn more of how to make these own pieces for your home to make your home just gorgeous. We do centerpieces, swags, garlands, even some Christmas trees, tree toppers, all that fun stuff for every season of the year in our class. Come join us at CleesDesignSchool.com. And we have step-by-step tutorials that are literally step-by-step, so you can watch them as many times as you want to be inspired to create your own project. All the projects have clickable supply lists, so you're able to come in and just make them exactly as pictured, or you can take the supply list and use it as reference. So for your next project you're going to make, maybe you're going to make it for a different season, so you want to use some different colors, but you have that guideline to go by. This is my last little piece, and I'm going to put it in right here. And y'all, we did it. We did it. This turned out just stunning. It is a gorgeous cottage wreath, beautiful muted color tone that you can use really all year long, but it is beautiful. You could use it in your home as well, you guys. So try this out. We'd love to have you. Make sure you like, subscribe, and follow us wherever you're watching, because you can make this too. I know you can. See you next time, Blue Merinos.